Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is UnKut with former Nebraska baseball pitcher Kyle Perry on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
Welcome in, folks. This is UnKut here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Kyle Perry. Forever and ever go Big Red, folks. Forever and ever. But here we are at a very familiar crossroads, if you will. Moment of silence for Husker fans out there. Everywhere. I mean, that had to have been one of the more embarrassing moments as a Husker fan, as a Husker. And boy, that's got to be the program's worst loss to a 2-5 UCLA team that we've seen in a long time. And you could argue that Scott Frost's last game, Southern Georgia, was probably the last time Husker fans have felt the low that was on Saturday. I'm sure if you listen to 93.7 The Ticket, I'm beating a dead horse here with what's probably been said in just the last 24 hours regarding the game. In my opinion, just thinking about it right after the game, that set the program back. It did. It set the program back at least a couple of years, in my opinion. They win the game against Ohio State. That might speed up the process of Matt Rule turning this thing around 2-3 years, like a fast forward button. And this is all my opinion. There are no facts to back up what I'm saying here. This is my own feeling towards the issue. That say they pull that game out in Columbus a couple weeks ago. We're looking at what? It would have been a 6-3 Husker football team going into UCLA. With that momentum, I don't think they lose to UCLA. Indiana took the wind out of the sails of Nebraska. Ohio State was Nebraska's chance to retaliate and make waves nationwide. Came up short, but it was encouraging to see that response from this team, and maybe think that that all that hype, all the media, the social media posts and the hype in the off season that we get every year, the Rule 8, if you will. And you know, with the YouTube series they were making, with all the turnover in culture that you could see was apparent in those videos, it makes me question some of it. It does. Is it a college athletics situation that's plaguing Nebraska, where maybe once stuff hit the fan, there's a good chunk of the team that decided mentally they're going to check out? Would Matt Rule allow that? I don't think so. But can that happen in a clubhouse and totally serve as a cancer in your clubhouse? Absolutely. And God forbid that's what's happening here in Lincoln. Because for the record, I've been on the Matt Rule train since he came in, right? I said after last year that Matt Rule is going to get Nebraska in the college football playoff in the next 2 to 3 years. And after yesterday's loss, I'm not going to go back on my word, but I have a lot less confidence in how I was feeling. Because if Ryle is hurt and is out, we have a bye week coming up, don't we? Is that right? And then we have USC.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
that's so. Hopefully that serves as a good a good resting period because he sure needs it. I swear that kid's taking a beating. Um, man, I so many things are just running through my head right now that are negative. They're definitely not positive. Um, but like I said, a very familiar situation us Husker fans have been um in years previous, and I'm right there with you. Um, the pain I don't think was as great when you were in the athletic department. Um, because you obviously had your priorities and you had stuff that kept you so busy from within the department. You had your own team you're trying to succeed with um at whatever point you're in the fall. Um, and gosh, man, I mean it's uh it's embarrassing that this loss was true. I felt like as a fan the embarrassment piece of it to where if you're an athlete at Nebraska, this would kind of be like oh wow, like this is concerning, but you got to turn the page to it's a totally different mindset is where was what I'm getting at. But you hate to you hate to think that the Matt Rule experiment isn't going to work out. And I'm not going to say that by any stretch. I'm still going to stick to the 2 or 3 years being the college football playoff, especially with the playoff expansion to 12 teams. I think my prediction is still possible. But with that being said, something needs to happen quick. I don't think these are the things you give time. I think you probably, if you know anything about the situation in Nebraska, you probably know what change needs to be made, or changes, plural. But I really don't want to get too far into that because that's not my can of worms to get into. But losing to a 2-5 UCLA team at home, it's not good. It's not good. Um, the way that the state of Nebraska treats you, the way you are taken care of, the way you are supported, the pedestal you're put up on, it requires more of an effort, more of a much better result is what I'm getting at. And I know there's a lot of things that go into a football game. But by no stretch should you allow a UCLA team to come in here and play like they want to play in a bowl game more than you do. Especially after how last year's season ended. I was all about the culture piece. Watching the videos in the off season and the YouTube stuff that they've been putting out. I'm all for it. But the thing that really bothers me is how do you finish with how many was it? 4 opportunities at the tail end of last year that were unsuccessful to get to win number 6. I've been saying it for a couple weeks now. It's chasing one. That's all Nebraska's doing is chasing one. And by the sense of urgency, lack thereof, that I've been seeing on Saturdays, you almost start to question: is the team thinking they're chasing 9 or something? Because it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain as at least a competitor where you win some, you lose some, right? But how are you going to allow 2-5 UCLA Bruin football team to come into Memorial Stadium here in Lincoln. I would just like to hear be a fly on the wall maybe, and just hear what kind of excuses or reasons. They don't even have to be excuses, reasons as to why this is happening. Because man, it's too bad. It's too bad, and Nebraska's going to have a going to have a really good game in the next couple of weeks, because their next few opponents are no joke. USC, Wisconsin, Iowa, correct? So those are no cakewalks. They're going to have to play their best ball to win one of those games. Obviously need to play their best ball, because anything less than their best ball is not good enough against a 2-5 UCLA team. And I know it sounds harsh, but folks, this was still can be the year we look back on and say, what, this is where they sprung ahead. And sadly, I feel like yesterday was a large step back. And I am of any person a very much an optimist. So for me to be that negative on our situation here, it means something. I can promise you that. But I feel like more so this is kind of my first post Husker really fan experience that you as a fan, and now me getting accustomed to that feeling, and really feeling it for the first time now. So really disappointing. Had a great weekend here with a bunch of friends, teammates from years past, coming in for alumni weekend. We had at Haymarket, and it was great to see some familiar faces and rub elbows with some really cool dudes. So that was awesome, and for the game to end up the way it did, I didn't think Nebraska was going to come out and necessarily put a beating down, because that hasn't been their identity for any of the games this entire season. There's never been a beat down. There's never been an asserting your dominance sort of performance by this team, which I thought we were going to see a lot of that. Just seeing how the identity of the team that seemed to be forging, and all the hype, the preseason, the offseason hype surrounding this team. So I was never expecting a Husker blowout, but I thought they were going to come in and handle business the way it needed to be handled. Do what it takes. And see, the ironic thing is that, say Nebraska were to go out there and win 14-10. I'm sure people, after the expectations of what we were supposed to see last night, people would probably be really upset. Not upset, but confused more so at a 14-10 win. And I think people are just more at a loss than anything after yesterday's performance, and I certainly am. But I'm feeling that same sort of I don't know if resentment is the appropriate word for this situation. But you yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Very disappointing weekend, to say the least, but I'm glad I had a good time, and got to see some great people in town, and really hit downtown and got to touch all the spots, and it was great to be back with friends and family here, and so happy about that. So glass half full tonight, folks. We're not going to get too bogged down on the football season. It's something we should just don't want to say expect. But as a Husker fan, you're conditioned to at least not get your hopes up too much. So that keeps us Nebraskans honest and well, hopefully more optimistic than I sound tonight. So with that, we're gonna go sit on our thoughts and we're gonna take this one to break. This is UnKut.
It's the fall sports season, and that
Thank
means
you.
that the school year is back in session, and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Looking for a place to relax and unwind after a busy day? Cigars Lounge at 8th and Q in the Haymarket is the perfect place to enjoy good company, a cocktail, and of course a cigar. Visit Cigars Lounge on Tuesdays for Top Shelf Tuesday and enjoy 50% off select spirits. Cigars Lounge offers Perdomo, San Cristobal, Rock Patel, and more of the top stogie brands that you know and love. But that's not all. If you mention this ad between noon and 5 p.m., you'll receive 15% off your entire tab just by mentioning the ticket. Check out Cigars Lounge today at 8th and Q in the Haymarket. All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today. I'm ready. Burgers? Check. Chips? Check. Icy cold beer? Check. Except this one. I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Führer's cheese spread? I can't stop eating it. Rico, relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Führer's cheese spread today in most local grocery stores.
Riddle's Jewelry is excited to be celebrating 65 years. 65 years of so many incredible memories celebrating with each of your special moments. In celebration of the 65th Riddle's Jewelry anniversary, we will be offering up to 40% off all engagement rings and all diamond fashion jewelry. The excitement doesn't stop there. Riddle's Jewelry is also offering 18 months, 0% interest and $0 down financing on all qualifying purchases. Riddle's Jewelry has always been known for incredible customer service, one of the largest selections of engagement rings, and don't forget about the on-site jeweler. Come celebrate with us at Riddle's Jewelry, your one-stop diamond shop with exclusive Levian jewelry, Pandora Charm jewelry, and more. All at Riddle's inside Gateway Mall. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
What's the radon level at your home? Don't know? Find out with a call to Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. Make sure your home is safe with a radon check from Bryant. If you've already tested, ask Bryant for a free estimate for mitigation. Once completed, you'll get a report showing how much safer your home is. When it comes to radon, call Bryant 467-1111 for testing and mitigation. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
It's game day at Raising Cane's. If you want to order like a champ, it's action off the field you need to focus on. The only play you're running is chicken. So what combo are you picking? Make it a perfect season. We've got tailgates of hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce, and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade. All available to order online or on our app. Touchdown! This season is about to be unbeatable. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
It's the Back to UnKut with Kyle Perry on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
Welcome back in, folks. This is UnKut. I'm Kyle Perry. Jake's on my right. We slow night here at the Ticket, okay? I'd love to hear the true, raw, honest feelings towards yesterday's game, because really I'm at a loss for what more there is to say. So if you got something that's going to spark a little a fire in me, and we can have some good talk about what needs to happen to get us on the right track, not just for the rest of the year, but really the future of Husker football, because we all know that the success, the vibe overall of Husker athletics depends on this the nuclear football we call Husker football. I mean, that's kind of how it is. I mean, that came from Trev Albert's mouth when I asked him about upgrades to the baseball stadium. Okay, he said before we can do any of that, points at Memorial Stadium on his wall and says that needs to take off first. So there's a priority that is in the athletic department already. It's no secret. It's never been a secret. Okay, I don't know why he felt compelled to at least to really tell me that, because he kind of just stated the obvious, a pretty known fact. If you don't live under a rock. But getting to spend 6 years in the athletic department, it becomes apparent, as it should be. Never going to debate that. It's the hamster that keeps the wheel turning. Okay, I get that. I know that. But it does become increasingly frustrating when that's obviously the priority and it's not succeeding. Because I remember I was talking to Harrison a few weeks back, and I made a comment about last year's team not being able to finish the year. And last year's team, yeah, different to this year's team for sure. Rule's first year. We had plenty of excuses and alibis that you could give him last year and that team and what he was inheriting and cleaning up quite the mess. This year is an interesting situation to be in. So yeah, it becomes increasingly and more increasingly disappointing, discouraging. It's not one of those give up hope type things. Where that next win's going to come from, I don't know. Nothing's guaranteed, obviously. You couldn't have asked in the conference that has just been cannibalizing itself in the Big Ten. If you can't host UCLA in what would be considered almost a layup for anybody in Nebraska's situation, you can't ask for a much better situation to lock down your bowl eligibility than what they were handed over yesterday with UCLA coming in. And we come up short. And I was watching. I thought we had it in the bag all the way until the ball was intercepted. I'm sure a lot of us felt that way, which is crazy because I think if that doesn't happen, they probably still march it down the rest of the way and at least tie it. No doubt in my mind. Talent wise, I think Nebraska is definitely the superior team there. Either way you look at it. Heck, even with Raiola out, I mean, and when you have that feeling that, oh, it's good. Oh, wait, they don't have it because an unfortunate mistake like that interception happens. It's almost more frustrating because it felt like there was more meat on the bone of what the potential they could have played to. Because I think they still probably would have found a way to win there if that ball had not been intercepted. So that feeling is probably worse than anything, really, is that once they got to the oh crap moment in the game where they realized if we don't start scoring, we are going to lose this game, and that would be pretty bad. Kind of the elephant in the stadium at that point. And then you saw more of a sense of urgency out of our offense. Does that stem from the coaches? I don't know. It was noticeable on TV. I can promise you that. And I think everybody felt that once the tides were turning. We call that momentum. In a lot of ways, you create your own momentum. But in a lot of ways, yesterday, it felt like Nebraska never was interested in momentum, really. Until it became time to I don't even want to call it winning time in a situation like that, but when it came down to the wire towards the end of the game, and they saw that the writing is almost on the wall with how that game was going to shape up if they don't press the gas pedal. The gas pedal was pressed too late, and the interception happened and sealed the fate in that game. And and I know everybody felt that gut punch when they showed that, because in real time that ball did not look intercepted, and then they show the replay and reality sank in pretty quick. But that's where I at least most of my emotion stems from is the lack of sense of urgency that was on display. That then when they saw that if they don't press on the gas, it's going to slip away. They press on the gas too little, too late, and that's where we're at. So I'd love to hear what you're thinking, because I'm not really thinking. I'm just disappointed. I'm just feeling an emotion right now. Beating a dead horse, if you will, and probably don't need it. I need it. It's my Sunday therapy to you. I'm on the therapy couch. I am speaking to you. I would love to know what moves need to be made, because we all know us Husker fans are could be some of the best sports administration people on planet Earth. We always have the right answers, right? But I'm seriously curious to where we go, because the Matt Rule project was not supposed to go like this. Matt Rule is a safe bet in my mind. I think he's going to get us turned around eventually. My prediction is 2 or 3 years after last year, 2 to 3 years, we're going to get in the college football playoff with a 12-team playoff. I have a pretty okay shot at that. After yesterday, I don't think. I think our program was set back a couple years, and that's my humble opinion. And I would love for me to be proven wrong in hindsight, and we look back and be like, wow, next year when we're sitting in the college football playoff, hopefully I'm laughed at. But not an encouraging look after yesterday's game. And boy, where does this ship go? I don't know. I don't know. Do a couple people need to be thrown off of that ship? Maybe. I'm not sports administration guy. I would never be in those situations to make that sort of call. But I would like to hear what the consensus is, because ironically, I scrolling through Twitter, I didn't see really much about the game, which I feel like I normally would. And that was the landscape feel yesterday after the game. Because really, is it really as much of a surprise, or just kind of like a Groundhog Day experience for these Husker fans? What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a problem. Rashawn Jackson, who I do the captain show with, in the afternoon, said Nebraska lost. He said this week is going to be the lead story on SportsCenter. I said, I don't think it necessarily would be, and it kind of came along, and it was shocking here. Nebraska's going to lead every Nebraska publication, but it's just this. It's just more of the same, and that's the problem. It's just more of the same. Nebraska last year had a very similar situation, and lost. Went to East Lansing and faced a 2-6 Michigan State team. Lost. Went on to lose their final 3 games, 2 of which included Wisconsin and Iowa, who they've had troubles with over the years. And so you're kind of back in the same exact situation. And I see apathy, like you said, maybe as far as people not getting as upset. I see people the people that are shouting are really shouting. They're on the extreme opposite side of that, where they don't have patience for a year 2 of Matt Rule and this, a slow build and the process and all that, because they've been sitting around for 10 years waiting to watch some bowl eligible football, and they're not getting it. So I think you've got a split fan base, a frustrated fan base, a lot of just problems on this team that aren't going to go away. Like you said, probably going to have to change some things about the process to get it steered back in the right direction. And I don't know. I mean, you just kind of feel like this team, after 8 games, 9 games now, they kind of are who they are. And who they are is not something that gives you a whole, overwhelming amount of confidence to beat anybody. And that was part of the UCLA game too. Even though they're 2-5, it wasn't going to be, like you said, going in there and win 45-10. That's why we're upset. No, people understood you might have to grind out at 25. I predicted 20-10, but 24-17.
Yeah, I think I was like 28-6.
Yeah,
nothing crazy.
Not blowing anybody out of the water, because we know there's problems with this offense. We know there's problems with this team. But to be down 27-7 to a 2-5 football team, I mean, give them credit for scrapping back. I will, they didn't lay down and die, so there's something to be said there. But you just can't come out like, as coaches, prepare a game plan and have 2 yards after the first quarter, 74 yards, wherever it was after the first half, and somehow only be down 13-7. And but before blank, and you're down 27-7.
Man, sickening. It is. I mean, that's really the kind of feeling is like after the game, I kind of started to feel ill, uneasy. Just a demoralizing gut punch that game served. And like I said, I was optimistic all the way till the end. I thought we were at least going to come back and take it to OT. No, didn't even get that luxury.
The missed extra point.
Yeah, dude.
Even when
Subtle
things are going right.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Golly. You're absolutely right. How after the first quarter, because we were talking a little bit before the break, or really before we got going, about at the beginning of the game. Okay, right? If your team is quote unquote fraudulent, not labeling our football team as that, but wouldn't their first drive, or at least maybe first quarter of offense, be probably their best, most efficient, because you have time to rehearse these play sequences. It's like they're scripted, right, to play off each other. Kind of like pitching in a way, how you can have a plan to attack the lineup one time through, and then it can get shaky the next time through the lineup, and even worse the next time after batters see you multiple times as a pitcher. So the same sort of thing as scripting your offense to the defensive weaknesses, so those plays play off of each other. You get them going one way, go the other. Then you get them confused. Then you go over top, whatever. I'm not an OC, but that's pretty basic football knowledge, right? And so for that trend to continue, especially when you're facing a 2-5, was it 2-5, correct? Before the game, UCLA team, you expect, at least a strong showing out of the gate, not just a plethora of points, but at least a few, first downs, a couple drives, maybe a field goal. No, it wasn't. It was just more of the same, like you said. Just a tough brand of ball. Doesn't look spirited. Doesn't look energized. Doesn't look like any tone is trying to be set out there on the field. And there's and while I say that, you would think that the 2-5 team would be the team having that problem, right? That they're trying to do whatever they can to just get up for this game, when it seems like the team that are playing for their bowl lives, that they are playing at the energy of a 2-5 team, or what society would think a 2-5 team would be like in a home game in another sold out crowd. I'll take a deep breath and maybe pass it to you, Jake, because the more I talk about it, my blood pressure's going up.
Well, and it goes beyond that too. Like the whole idea of UCLA joining the Big Ten is, well, for years we said, well, just wait till they come and play at Nebraska in November. And then there it was, Big Ten weather, just like it was in a lot of the other Big Ten games, rainy, cold. It wasn't necessarily downpouring snow or anything, but it was just set up. And if you beat a 2-5 UCLA team, of course they could come back with, well, that's not our best squad or whatever. But you at least wanted to be in the position to do that. And it is like I get what you're saying. It's, there are losses that impact the season that you go, man, we're going to look back at this season and think that, what if we could have had that one? And then there are losses that impact a program. And I think that's what a lot of people are kind of doing, is they're still, everybody wants to support Coach Rule. He's a great guy. I always say, give that guy as much mic time as he can. He's a great ambassador for the program. But all that has to come with winning, or at least winning enough. And it isn't yet. And that's the other thing too, is there's, I said this about the Indiana game. You only get so many as a coach games that you can lose 56-7. You start adding too many of those, and they're going to make a change. And now this is another week addition. When you combine it with last year's Michigan State game, only so many games that you could lose to 2-5, 2-6 opponents.
Yeah,
this late in the season, being the favored team, and expect that you just that's been a yearly thing now with Coach Rule. That can't be a yearly thing.
Yeah, how do you come out so flat? How do you come out so uninspired with a potential berth to a bowl game for the first time in 8 years? That boggles my mind. I remember joking around after last year, because we had our season ahead. There's something to look forward to, um, and just laughing at the fact that we were unable to punch our ticket to a bowl game last year. And this year, it's a different feeling. I'm not too laughy, jokey, haha about this situation because it kind of exposes something that's underlying, or that maybe we know is there. Players might know it's there. That it needs to be addressed and it needs to be taken care of, because, like you said, that this can't be a repeatable offense, because it's not going to be dealt with much longer. I know by the fan base, whatever moves Dannon decides to make, or however he's feeling. I would love to know how he's feeling, because he obviously hasn't been here long, and this is really his first taste of wow. This is what Nebraska's about. The fans do all this good to get this, right? So that there has to be a world of emotions in his world. I can I can only imagine.
Well, that's what, and Deshaun Foster, the UCLA coach, at least, to his credit, said, and to Nebraska fans' credit, said we came in and won in a, I can't remember exact words he said, but I think hostile environment type of idea. And that's what's saddening about all this is Nebraska fans just keep showing up, yelling, getting excited, and they know the end of the story. And that's the problem is this, this thing goes along as we expect it to at this point. maybe you're different, but it's kind of feeling like your typical thing. And then it lines up for bowl eligibility on the line against Iowa on Black Friday. And how has that turned out every time it's been tried over the last several years? I mean, so it's just, man, we just don't want to live the same nightmare. And here it is popping up once again.
Yeah, especially with all the expectations around this year's team. I mean, this was the team that was supposed to go into Columbus 7-0. Remember?
That's right.
Which is obviously what would have been a perfect world Husker fans would be living in, but we didn't get that. They did go into Columbus with a chance to punch a bowl ticket. Came up very short, and which was at the time an encouraging performance, at least. And looking back, did they put all their eggs in that basket? Because that was arguably their best game all year. Exchanging blows with one of the best in all the land. I mean, what are we doing? Is that where the season took a turn and we didn't realize it? I don't know. We may or may not be talking more Husker football after the break. This has been Uncut.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids. First, I hold my hands out like they're on a steering wheel. Then I look over my shoulder. Next, I put it in reverse. Beep, beep, beep. Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is area race announcer James Rowland. Join me and Bree Fansteel every Sunday night from 7 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket for the Finish Line, where we cover all things motorsports from local racing to racing around the world. Every Sunday night from 7 to 8 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to Uncut with Kyle Perry on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program.
Welcome back in here to the booth. Jake and I chilling here on a rainy Sunday night, coming up on midnight here. So if you're still tuning in with us, I appreciate it, man. And this is Uncut, and I'm Kyle.
Well, it would be midnight. We did have the daylight saving time.
Sure, dude.
We got to change that clock.
I saw something before. It was like I feel like it's 16 p.m. right now. I was like, that's really how this day feels. I mean, it feels. I woke up here in Lincoln actually, feeling pretty good. When I looked at the clock and saw it was about 9:30. It's like, wow, that's the best I've slept in, and I realized, oh wow, it could be 10:30 right now. So I didn't know my body could still do that. So yeah, that was a pleasant surprise, and that's made this day feel like it's been about a 48-hour day. So it's good. It's good though. Happy for the time change. Well, you know what? That's always been something I've been curious about. Daylight savings time. What are the overall thoughts? Because I actually have heard a lot of people do not like it, and I love falling back in the fall. I do really enjoy this when it happens, but the spring forward in the spring is that's quite miserable in my opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously now it's going to get darker earlier, and that part kind of sucks. I really hate that part. But I don't know, Jake. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking a little bit earlier too, as I was just driving on the way over here, and I was thinking, we really got to take advantage of these times, because I remember after winter, and it happens every year in Nebraska. There's just this feeling of when the winter is ending, you're like, you know what? I could go out and do anything when I want to, whenever I want to.
Yeah.
And we're about to get into that feeling, because right now we can do that, but we don't. We kind of take that for granted. Yeah, of course that's the way. But when winter comes around, we spend 5 months not wanting to go out. It's gonna be tough, but it is what it is. Hopefully we don't have too bad of a winter. As far as the time change, like you said, I mean, if we get an extra hour, sure, but if you're taking it away, then it's it could be pretty detrimental. It's tough to get enough sleep as it is.
Yeah, no doubt. So I every time it comes around, I always appreciate that extra hour. I do, and I feel like I've always prioritized. That's one of those nights you hit the pillow and you have a lot more confidence that you're about to have a much better night of sleep, sort of deal. You're not too worried about waking up groggy. You're about to have one kick-ass night of sleep. So that's where my appreciation for it comes. But then when the exact opposite on the spring forward, I hate that hour gets taken away. Feels like that day it's like a 10-hour day because you lose an hour. So maybe you just gain more perspective on what an hour can do for you.
But then the blessing is you get more daylight right there.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. So with falling back, it's not daylight savings, but it's still called that, right?
Yeah.
But we're actually not saving daylight.
We're kicking it.
We're taking it away, right? Right? Because the sun,
at least as far as when I'm awake.
Isn't that what it makes sense? Yeah. So that crazy. But yeah, I appreciate the hour. And it's for the farmers, correct? So the farmers always appreciate that. I mean, that's something that they've been pushing for.
Yeah, I thought there was something too. Like a couple years ago, I thought we were just going to quit daylight saving times. I thought
Yeah.
everybody had agreed to that, and then we didn't really do it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, it's kind of like a holiday, So, cheers to daylight savings time, man.
I'm not necessarily for it or against it either way.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really thought about it that deep, but
Yeah.
but I have heard that people don't like it, especially when it comes to like seasonal depression or something like that. Where it can really screw with someone's mental when it comes to their daily life, which I'd never really even thought of. But yeah, this part when it gets, it's gonna start getting dark sooner. I get it. Like when we were in high school and we had basketball practice, and so you're indoors for school the entire day.
Oh yeah.
You go into the gym for your 2.5 hour practice, and then we would go lift weights, and then it would be like our first I don't know, like what we'd walk by the windows for the first time, and they'd be dark when we came in the morning, and it was still dark.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, so I get that part. If you're not exposed to enough sunlight during the day, this is not a good time for you. So I get it. I get it because I was in high school once.
I believe too. I don't know if you've thought about this in like Alaska. I know there's certain like times of the year where there's like 20 hours of sunlight. I don't know if I could do that.
No. That we've had a few guys that went and played summer ball in Alaska, and they said it doesn't get dark.
Yeah.
It's just like, bro, like all the rooms have the blackout curtains and stuff. So, but I mean, it sounds like it'd be a cool experience, but to live like that,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty wild. It would be interesting though. I'm sure you'd have some good stories from it, but I think it being like had a couple, like the guys that were there, they'd post like a story at 2 a.m. and it was like daylight. It just made no sense.
Sunbathing.
It's like, so that would really screw with me, I think. Yeah, that would be pretty weird. But shout out to Alaska. They do have some pretty cool scenery.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the sports scene. With their playing fields, all lit up at 3 a.m. and
Yeah. They're pretty
by
big
the water.
Alaskan baseball following.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so, but that would be a good one. Find out if there's any major league talent that's come out of Alaska.
Yeah.
I really don't know. That'd be a good opening for tomorrow night's show with Harrison. But hey, thanks for spending your night with us. Jake and I appreciate it. This has been another episode of UnKut.